When did your boss's arrogance almost cost your company millions? I was a junior quality assurance tester at a mid-sized fintech startup. We were days away from launching our flagship payment gateway for a massive retail client. Everyone was exhausted. I was running late-night regression tests on the beta environment when I saw it, a gaping loophole in the user authentication token logic. It was not just a bug, it was an open backdoor. Anyone with basic scripting knowledge could bypass the login wall and scrape customer credit card data. My stomach bottomed out. My hands were literally shaking on the keyboard. I took a screenshot of the logs and ran straight to my project manager. His name was Dave. Dave was the kind of guy who cared more about launch deadlines than clean code. He was drinking his fourth coffee of the day and barely looked up when I came into his office. I laid it all out for him. I showed him the vulnerability. I told him we were essentially handing hackers the keys to the vault. Dave just sighed and rubbed his temples. He told me I was overthinking a minor anomaly. He said QA always gets paranoid right before launch and that the company firewall would catch anything weird. I told him the firewall would not trigger because the system would read it as a legitimate token request. He told me to go back to my desk and stop causing panic over hypothetical scenarios. He said we were not delaying a multi-million-dollar launch because a junior tester got spooked by a weird log line. I went back to my desk, feeling sick. I watched the countdown to the live demo. The retail client executives were flying in on Friday to see the first real-time transactions before the public rollout on Monday. Over the next 2 days, I monitored the traffic on our beta endpoints. Sure enough, someone was already probing our system. They had found the door and were just waiting for the system to go live to walk right in. I tried to warn our chief technology officer, but his assistant gate-kept him. I tried to email the lead developers, but they were in absolute lock-in mode, fixing user interface glitches. Nobody was listening to me. Friday morning finally arrived. The glass boardroom was packed with suits. They literally had champagne bottles chilling on a side table. Dave was up at the front, beaming, projecting the live dashboard onto the massive wall screen. The client CEO was about to authorize the first batch of 10,000 real transactions to prove the system was stable and ready for the public. I was sitting in the very back with my laptop connected to the master server rack to monitor background processes. I was watching the incoming traffic matrix. Right as the CEO lifted his finger to press the authorization button on his tablet, I saw it. A massive spike in unauthorized authentication requests began flooding the exact port I had warned Dave about. The automated data scrape was starting. In seconds, real customer data would be stolen on a live feed while everyone cheered. I did not think about my job. I did not think about the consequences. I just stood up, ran to the side of the room where the temporary demo server rack was set up, grabbed the thick main power cable, and ripped it right out of the wall. The massive wall screen went completely black. The servers spun down with a loud whine. The room went dead silent. Dave turned ghost white and screamed at me, asking what the hell I was doing. A security guard actually stepped into the room because of the sudden shouting. I stood there holding the heavy black cable in my hand. My heart was hammering against my ribs so hard it hurt. My voice was shaking. I looked directly past Dave, right at the client CEO, and told him the system was actively being breached and I had just stopped a massive leak of his customers' financial data. The room erupted into total chaos. The technology officer rushed over, hooked up his emergency terminal to a backup battery, and checked the offline system logs. It took him 5 minutes of scrolling to see what I had been screaming about all week. All the blood drained from his face. He looked at Dave, then looked back at the angry client. The breach was entirely real, and the data theft was stopped literally seconds before payload extraction. Dave tried to stammer out an excuse about it being a sudden glitch. I pulled up the email I had sent him 3 days prior, begging him to delay the launch because of this exact flaw. The client walked out of the room immediately. Dave was escorted out of the building by security later that afternoon. The company spent the next month rewriting the entire authentication protocol from scratch, and I was quietly moved directly to the senior cybersecurity team.